we look at the weather systems. Whether it's hot or cold, our guys and our women are always ready to tackle the challenge. We starting this week, we started having meetings about the weather, getting forecasts. Our folks started making sure the vehicles were ready for ice, having any kind of protective devices in the vehicle. Making sure they have de-icer, things like that. Have chains, have cleats for themselves if they do have to get out in the ice. Making sure their PPEs, their personal protective equipment, is up to par. Your jackets, coats, sweaters, anything that they need to make sure that they're taking care of not only themselves but their vehicles, so that we can safely restore power if needed.
And Tom, looking at the forecast right now, what worries you most about what we could see here in the region?
Freezing rain. Freezing rain is always the biggest issue for us. Ice on the trees is a problem. A little bit of ice on the tree can weigh that limb down over 50 times its normal weight. You put a half inch, you got on our wires, then you could get 500 times the normal weight of that wire. So it absolutely, when you get ice on the tree limbs and ice on our wires and facilities, it weighs it down quite a bit. So you start seeing a lot more damage to our facilities when you get that much ice. And freezing rain, as you know, it comes down as rain. As soon as it hits, it freezes. And so we watch that really close. Snow, accumulation of snow doesn't bother us as much as the freezing rain that comes in and the ice. So we're watching that ice line is what we really look at.
And ahead of an event like this, is there any type of, vegetation work to take a look at maybe trees that could be at risk of getting that freeze on it and then falling on a line? Is there any work with vegetation ahead of time to maybe
Yeah.
lessen the impact?
We look at that vegetation all year. We try to get out there all year long. We look at trees that could impact our facilities. As you know, that we have thousands of miles of lines out there across the state. So we get to everything we possibly can. You're going to have some trees that are outside of our right of way that might break and fall into our lines. We're here to get the power back on when that kind of stuff happens. There may be in East Texas, there are some trees that are taller than what we can get to. So some of those overhanging limbs are well over what we can get to, and so we watch those pretty closely, and we know what areas have some of those tall trees in them, and if a limb falls down and gets on the line, we've got the guys, we've got the personnel, Oncor, we've got contractors, we've got tree trimmers ready to go right now, standing by to handle any situation that gets thrown at us.
And you mentioned that in terms of additional resources. Have you brought
Yes.
in anyone ahead of time? How's that working out?
Yes, we made sure that our contract resources and Encore resources are, if we need them in this area ahead of time, we will bring them in. We've most of this one is kind of coming across the state, and a lot of our Encore resources will come in from the Dallas or Waco area, but they're watching their area as well. What we have done is pre-stage some contract resources here in Tyler to make sure that if something happens, we've got the personnel to take care of it. We've also looked at staging areas where we can put material if needed. And our community partners have been great. I can't thank the folks here in Tyler. We're the East Texas State Fair area. The Cody and his team have done a really great job of talking to us and allowing us to use that location, and we'll be able to put some material in there and if we need to and get it out and get people restored as quickly as possible. So we're not looking at just Tyler area though. We've got areas in Palestine, Lufkin, all the way up into Sulphur Springs, Paris, in that area as well. So we're watching everything in East Texas.
And Tom, when we talk about the restoration process, what are the challenges your people, your linemen, your contractors face in weather like this? Would this be a situation where they would have to stage and wait until the roads are safer to get out on? How, if somebody loses power, how fast do you think people could respond to try and get it back on?
So we're going to try to get them back on no matter what. It does slow us down. You get ice and snow on the road, it does slow you down. Our folks are prepared with chains for their tires to get there, and they've got cleats to walk on the ice as well to do it safely. But it does slow down the process when you do have ice and snow on the road. The other thing is safety. So the folks that decide that they want to go out there and drive, if you see one of our folks on the side of the road working and they're up in a bucket trying to restore power, give them as much room as possible. Give them a wide berth. Uh, if you can, scoot over as far as you possibly can, because if you do lose control and hit our truck, then our guy could get hurt real bad. So if you don't have to get on the roads, the best thing is to stay home. If there is ice and snow on the road, and so if you do see our trucks there, make sure you give them as much room as possible. We want our guys to get the power back on, but we need it to be done safely, and that includes passersby in cars that could potentially impact our trucks or anything like that. Give them some room.
And it seems every time we are, leading up to an event like this, we emphasize the importance of reporting a power outage and not assuming that it's a part of a much larger power outage or relying on your neighbors to report it. It's important for you guys to know when someone loses power.
Absolutely. So don't think your neighbor or somebody down the road is reporting the outage. There's several different ways you can report an outage. I highly recommend you go to the whatever device you're using, go to the store and get the My Oncor app and sign up for that. You can report the outage and get updates through that app. And it also will give you updates on what's going on our system as a whole too. So it's a great tool. If you go to Oncor.com, you can do that on your phone or on your computer. Then you can report an outage through that. You can text out to 6626. I'm sorry, 66267, and then you can report your outage that way, or you can call 888-313-4747 to report your outage. So there's a bunch of different ways to report the outage. I highly recommend the My Oncor app. It's a great tool. I've had a lot of people call me and tell me that they really appreciated that app being out there. It makes it easy.